In Buddhism, I mentioned this yesterday, repeating it, the root cause of suffering, according to Buddhism, desire. According to the Vedas, and Prabhupada says it over and over, the root cause of suffering is ignorance. Because from ignorance comes ignorant desire, and from ignorance comes ignorant activity, and from ignorant activity comes suffering. Buddhism doesn't recognize there is a soul. It doesn't come right out and say there isn't. But if you don't have the soul, if you're not soul, you just stop desire. But the teaching over and over and over and over and over from Prabhupada, because Yogeshesha Shuddhavadi, Pasakyanadadi Sakanide, he wants us to not fall prey to thinking we don't exist. Because Buddha's teaching is we don't exist. And happiness is going to that place of you don't exist. Just annihilate the self. Not possible, you can't annihilate the self. So the problem is not desire, the problem is ignorance. And that ignorance can be removed, just like jaundice can be removed by proper medicine. And the proper medicine is sound. And the sound that removes the ignorance of material existence that causes suffering, causes ignorant desire and negative. It's the holy name. And Vedas, sound. And of all the sound vibrations, especially for this age, is the name. We all know words. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Kalo, Nasye, 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 On, if I remember, Sunday evening, I'm going to show you a 3-minute video of that speaking how the Holy Name creates auspiciousness, and that auspiciousness removes, he doesn't use the same language here as here, but the ignorance covering the entity. The inauspiciousness is we're stuck in ignorance and suffering. And the Holy Name. Rupa Goswami. If you have your handout, you can take a look, if you would, to the Takshri Krishna Namadi, Namavedvaya Indriyai, Sevanmukhi Jivada, Swayame was broken. Another verse by Rupa Goswami, in this case from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But these are Upanudas, or followers of Rupa Goswami, is teaching us how to get to the place of higher consciousness, to get to Krishna, the Krishna connection. So, in this verse, Takshri Krishna Namadi, Namavedvaya Indriyai, Swayame was it's the essence is we need to take shelter of the Holy Name. The reference for this verse on page 4 or 5, found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I'll just read Prabhupada's translation. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, or qualities and pastimes. When the conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name, and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified And when gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is, speaking for myself, when I began chanting Hare Krishna, I couldn't say, I know who Krishna really is. Lord Brahma says to Krishna, 10th canto, chapter 14. Some people say they all know all about Krishna. I don't. And Brahma doesn't, what about us? But how do we get to that place where we know, we understand who Krishna really is? Wouldn't that be nice? That's wrestling. It's by service to the name. Service to the name is the emphasis. You won't have people shuffling for your papers, but the very first part of this handout says there's two purposes of this morning class. One, service to the name. Service to the name. And the other is the name of Krishna, not different. Those are the two messages from this morning class. And to the service to the name, let's just say this backwards. When we're chanting, what's the common translation of Prabhupada has given? Oh, energy of Krishna, please engage me in the service of Krishna. Oh, Radha, and dressed as Hara, in the book it is Hare. Oh, Radha, please engage me in the service of Krishna. Because Radha is the giver of bhakti. Yes? We say, Bhakti Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi is an expansion of Radha. She is Radha's expansion. And for us to engage in Krishna service, we need to be okay with Radha. She does that through Bhakti Devi. And then Bhakti Devi empowers bhaktas to give devotional service to Krishna. And they do that through the chanting of Brahmi because it awakens the dormant tendency to be in Krishna service. Constitutionally, we're servants, but we're in ignorance, and so we're serving false masters, the temporary, asat. And we're stuck. Even if you're trying to get free from asat, what do? You're stuck. We need mercy, and the mercy comes in this age, particularly in the form of the holy name. And so the awakening of the mood of being in service to Krishna starts with a mood of service to the name, because the name of Krishna is different. And then, as Hari was saying yesterday, really nice, we get installments. Slowly we can start to say, "Oh, Krishna, not overnight, because we have a disease. Jaundice life, we're covered by avidya. And so we're still attracted to the temporary. We enjoy the temporary, even when we're trying to awaken our loving service to our Krishna tendency. Keep chanting, stay the course, and the installments will come for those who are faithful. And the faithful message for the faithful is Rupa Goswami, be in service to the name. Now, a little sharing. When I was preparing this is I've made this presentation several times. The first time I made the presentation, I was absorbed in the message, and not just like the message, but trying to enter into the mood of the message. And so every day for a month, I'm sharing. When chanting top every morning, I was contemplating Rupa Goswami's teaching. mood of service to the name. And my nature is, like many of us, I like service. I like being in service. I like it. It's our nature. And I like that part of my nature. And some other things I don't like, the conditioned part. But I like service. So service was really easy to get into the mood of the service to the name. And you know what? Rasa. I mean, I can't say, I now understand what Krishna means. But I can say I have a deeper appreciation of the potency of the name by the mood of service to the name. And one other thing is I found, and I'm still finding, that service to the name is not just when you're chanting the name, it's everything else that you do. You know, go to school, or you go to work, or you take care of your kids, or you're in the kitchen, or you do some service for the temple, whatever. Life is service to the name. It expands without boundaries into everything. It's a consciousness, Krishna consciousness, service to Krishna consciousness through service to the name. It's really simple. It's perfectly natural. It is our nature, and it's our relationship with Krishna, and the access to that is service to the name. And then comes the next, because the name and Krishna are not different. Service to the name means service to Krishna. Service to Krishna means the name. So tomorrow morning, we're going to hear some more about this. We'll be happy to hear. It's getting reinforced, and it's one of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Namastika songs that I mentioned it last night. So that's this slide. And following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, this is, last night was the glories of the gift of the Holy Name. So these are gifts or excellences or Shikshastra number 1. And in Shikshastra number 1, I made reference to this last night, mentioning it again. I encourage you to go look it up on the computer, where the name brings one to samadhi, and samadhi is beyond nirvana. So, Prabhupada's purport says, chanting the name, Chaitatarpana Marjanam Bhava Mahatma Nirvana. That's 2. The first 2. And what's beyond that? Well, if you're a Buddhist, nothing's beyond that. Bhava Mahatma Nirvana. The blazing forest fire of material existence is extinguished. That's it. There's nothing more. That's nirvana. Cessation of material existence and the blazing fire, suffering of material existence. It's over. But that's just 2 of 7. Keep going. Don't just try to become relieved from suffering. I mean, that's pious people go to do devotion service to Krishna because they want relief from suffering. Keep going. What's beyond that? What's beyond that is this. Swarupina Vyavasati. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. You'll find the very beginning. Sukadeva Goswami is identifying the 10 topics within the Bhagavatam, and one of them is mukti in the first 2 verses. And by text 6, Sukadeva Goswami says, this is what mukti means. This is directly from the verse. Swarupena Vyavasati. In that Bhagavad Gita purport, Prabhupada calls this the permanent situation of the form of a living entity. After he gives up the changeable, gross, and subtle material bodies. Now, we don't have to give up our body to get there. We just have to give up the avidya that says, that's me. The classic example in the Bhagavatam is Narada Muni, who achieved that perfection. And when he gave up the body, he met simultaneous as lightning and illumination, he manifested as Narada Muni. That's beyond nirvana. So that the path of Bhakti Yoga, this is taken from a BBT illustration. There's a path in the middle of material existence with the battlefield on the left side and the cement jungle on the right side. And takes us to Krishna. The Bhakti Yoga path is awakened through Nama. And then continuing with the excellences, not only our permanent situation in our relationship with Krishna, but this Ambudi of the ocean of Ananda. Keep going, folks, because that's within the name. It's not like the name takes you to another place. It's within the name. The name is Krishna. Everything is in Krishna. Raso Vaisa, the Rasa. And the mature stages, prema. That's where this path of yoga takes you. According to Rupa Goswami's writing, it derives even the conception of liberation. So one doesn't need to hanker for something temporary, of sex, or becoming one with the Supreme. That kind of liberation, it's not, there's no attraction to that. For those in the mature stage of bhakti or mature stage of chanting, what do they want? More names, please. That rasa has become awakened. So we'll have an opportunity tomorrow, although we're not at the prema stage, to awaken that consciousness in installments, depending on Krishna's reciprocation with us at any given time. So now there's a reference that's, you can look at these things later. This is a yavli, it's in your handout, purposely so you can go back and receive. There is Rupa Goswami quoting Sridhar Swami, commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, who writes, Lord, is your impersonal spiritual intelligence not always present everywhere? Even so, it has not been able to break even a single small leaf of the tree of repeated birth and death. On the other hand, the moment your holy name is taken by the tongue, it thoroughly shatters the tree of birth and death down to its roots. Exactly what text 7 instruction says. Of these two, or the spiritual intelligence or the holy name, which should be served? Nice. Serve the name. Chant the name in the mood of service to the name, and let that service to the name permeate your life. Good and bad, without exception. Without exception. Now, in your handout, there is also this. Bahujana Padiyari Shravana Kirtana Kabuna Aya Krishna Parikramadana. We used to recite this in the New York Temple every morning before saying your penitences. Every day. If one is infested with penitences and chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name in many verses, he will not get the love of Godhead that is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So, good news, it's right in your handout. So don't get distracted and look at your handout, but I'll read the translation. Excuse me, I'll read just a little passage from the purport from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adivita, chapter 8. The holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the holy name. I'll read it again. The holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the name. This service in the submissive attitude begins with one's tongue. But it begins with your tongue and it permeates to everything else. Service to the name. One must engage his tongue in the service of the holy name. Our Krishna consciousness movement is based on this principle. We try to engage all the members of the Krishna consciousness movement in the service of the holy name. So here's a nice temple. And there's nice members that come regularly to the temple and some come occasionally to the temple. We are all engaged in service to the, whether at home, at school, at work, this and that. Our life is service to the name because it's service to Krishna. It's not different from the name. It's good. Maybe a little uncomfortable, but it's good to ask yourself in a personal way, not like a textbook, check the box, get an A in your Bhakti Shastri exam that says, why are we chanting? Why am I chanting? One who does that in installments will get a more purified sense of who you are, like what's profoundly important to you. Later we're going to see an illustration of cultural change, or cultural engineering, paradigm shift, those different terms. The bottom of there's the tip of the iceberg of behavior, and then there's values that's below the surface of the water, the iceberg. And then there's deeply held convictions, unchangeable, not depending upon circumstance. So it's good to ask, what are your most deeply held convictions? It's same as who are you really? You know, check them out, they're not the body of your soul. But to get to that, and Krishna is the personality of God that created that name example. Now, look inside and what's really deep inside, what's really important to you, because it has a lot to do with the quality of your chanting. To deepen, to go further, we're all chanting, to go deeper into the chanting. This is a really good question to ask. The Sanskrit, a Sanskrit phrase that reflects this is sankalpa, like what's your intention when you're chanting, to get beyond the mechanical stage of chanting, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur's term is counting game, something like that. Yeah, you need to know why. Right here. Why? You want to go, so keep asking it. Why do I want to go deeper? What's it all about? What am I really? What's really important? And what is my intention when chanting? So I'm suggesting, according to Rupa Goswami and others, to be in service to the name. You know that story. Most of us probably know the story. Prabhupada tells of the village lady, her occupation, her maintenance was gathering pieces of wood that fell in the forest, and she would bundle up the bundle of sticks and place it upon her head and take it to the marketplace and sell it whatever she could get. So one day, pious lady, the bundle fell, and she called out. The public didn't say what name. She said, "Oh God, please help me." God came. This is Prabhupada. God came. "Oh, how can I serve you? Can you put the bundle of sticks back on my head?" What's important to you? What's your intention when you're calling? So if it's in the asat realm, that's not, it's not recognizing the fullness of what the name can give, and what the fullness of the name is, because the fullness of the name is everything. So what's your intention when you're chanting? And if you have a good answer, like a personal answer, not a textbook exam answer, keep asking it because it can get refined as you progress in Krishna consciousness. Then comes what? That's the activity itself, avideya. Here's Rupa Goswami's teaching from Madhya Samhita, Anapoye Krishna Vishnu. That's a whole class in itself. What does that mean? It's the foundational text of the whole of Nectar Devotion that says what? It's resting upon why, but all that you do with your senses and your mind is pursuing the pleasure of Krishna. Pursuing the pleasure of Krishna starts with serving Krishna, awakening bhakti, activity with love for Krishna's pleasure. That's the what. That's resting upon the why. And then comes how. So we're hearing about this mood of service to Namaprabhu. And when the service to Namaprabhu awakens, then comes, do we get the microphone over here? Comes Bhakti Vinod Thakur's illumination. Help us understand what going into the mood of service to the name does. So that's the song that we all sang together, Jaya Jaya Harinam, and technology permitting, we'll hear.
All glories to the holy name of the Lord, the abode of immortal transcendental bliss. Supreme absolute truth, who possesses an eternal form of sacred syllables, is descended in the form of the holy name. Thereby, he shows mercy to his own devotees, while showering boundless compassion upon all fallen souls.
There's tambour music in the background. For some reason.
All glories to the Supreme Personality of God is called by different names, such as Hari, Krishna, and Rama. He is the auspicious resting place of all entities within the universe, and it divides the minds of all souls. Wise sages maintain great reverence for this holy name and constantly sing it by filling their mouths with the sound. Oh, Krishna, in the form of 8 syllables, you possess all powers and are engaged in bestowing pure auspiciousness upon the living beings. Without you, there is no other friend to rescue us, the ocean of material existence. You have come to the deliverance of all fallen souls. For all souls within this world, there is much misery and successfully destroy all his sorrows. If one simply obtains a faint glimpse of your actual identity, then all sorts of terrible miseries are cast far away. Indeed, the very form of suffering itself is easily broken to pieces. But the note says, always.
For some reason, Phoenix Temple has jinx. Particularly the sound system, although they're very capable devotees, right on top of the system. Very special here. Within this song that we just sang and heard the translation of, aside from service to the name, there's this strong message which we're going to hear again in the song number 6, Namaste. That the form of the name syllables, form of the name syllables. So for some people, they have a hard time dealing with God has form. And then, but most devotees don't have a difficulty that God has form. Then comes the Srimad Bhagavatam, according to Padma is the form of Krishna in sound through the 12 cantos, the different parts of the form of Krishna. 12 cantos equals the form of Krishna. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us, Rupa Goswami is also teaching us, Padma Purana is also teaching us, Abhina Tvam Nama Namino, the name Nama, and the object name Nami, they're Abhina, they're identical. So the mood of service to the name is the mood of service to Krishna. The mood of service to Krishna is the mood of service to the name. To awaken our common Krishna consciousness, it starts with service to the name. That's what Rupa Goswami is teaching us, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us. All of that's very wonderful. Now let's come down to where we are. We're distracted. And wouldn't it be nice if distracted chanting disappears? That would be really nice. And so this is repeating an earlier message, but please examine your intention while chanting. And the advice of our acharyas is serve the name. Is it possible to be distracted when you're serving someone? Certainly. But when the affection is awakened, you don't have to think about the person because the affection is awakened. That affection is now dormant. So it's something in medicine like text 7, the sita, the sugar candy is the medicine to remove the avidya so that the affection for Krishna awakens by eradication of the avidya. And when that intention of serving the name awakens, then comes attention. I had a nice discussion with Vaishesha, who was kind of like cute. But from intention comes attention. From intention comes attention. So if your attention is distracted, go back to your intention, and you'll find attention becomes stronger. If you're not clear what your intention is, you'll remain distracted. If you take the time and trouble of searching inside and see, not just because Rupa Goswami says it, but do you want to be in service to Krishna? The channel, the pathway, is service to the name. And that will help you in distracted chanting. So tomorrow, or this evening, we're going to have a Dhamma Yajna. I encourage you all, cultivate this. When you do your 64 round day tomorrow, I encourage you to cultivate this. Now in your handout, please don't flip there right now. Please don't flip there right now. There's an exercise, and you hear me say this a few times, kind of like reinforce it. While we're here together, application of this principle. Cultivate while we're here together these two things. Mood of service to the name during kirtan. Mood of service, not only the kirtanir, but the responders and both. The mood of service to the name. It's powerful. Doorways open we didn't even see the door for before. Service to the name. And the exercise is a request. You'll hear me say it multiple times. It's over the next 3 weeks. Something similar to what Shamsundar said yesterday. And I'm sure he'll say it more than yesterday. Make a determination by requesting as an exercise. Cultivate these two things. How intention of serving non-people can help you get free from distracted chanting, from the mechanical to the emotional experience, and then you understand who Krishna really is. It starts to awaken. The graphic that says the same thing. So there's a cooking pot. Below the cooking pot, there's a flame. So imagine if the cooking pot is 6 feet in the air above the flame. It's going to take a long time to cook, whatever you got in that pot. But the closer you bring the pot to the flame, the more quickly it's going to cook. You may want to stir the pot because you don't want it to like burn or something. But the closer our attention is to the Maha Mantra, that's the fire. The sooner our consciousness, that's what's in the pot, become purified. So, in a phrase, mindfulness or attentive chanting. Each name that you chant, say a little bigger. Each mantra that you chant, be attentive to the mantra that you're chanting at the moment, rather than planning or lamenting what is going to happen, what didn't happen. This mindfulness is essential. So, Rama, this is Abhinatvam Nama Namino, this is Padma Purana. Our acharyas are teaching us this name and the person are the same. And when we're chanting, each and every name Krishna appears personally. But I was mentioning this yesterday. This is just saying the same thing again in a different way. Supposing we're distracted, or supposing we're in the association of those who are offensive to the name. Actually, the holy name never comes from the mouths of the Mayavadis. Although the syllables may be heard, Nama Prabhu, with all his transcendental potency, does not reside there. So there's transcendental sound, and there's what's not Nama Prabhu's presence. So where we, from whom we hear is important. Then another reference, this is Prema Vivarta, Jagatananda Pandit. One cannot chant the holy name of Lord Krishna purely in the company of non-devotees. The sound and syllables of the name may be uttered, but that is not real chanting. So that's in the negative. But the positive is hear from the right sources. The chanting, Prabhupada's recording, should be heard as far as possible from the lips of a pure devotee. And when the lips of the pure devotee is chanting, what's the mood? So emphasis has been be in service, but are we eligible for Krishna service? So here's Prabhupada. The lecture is in your handout. You can look at it later. Please accept me. Lord Chaitanya taught that we should simply cry, and we shall be pray for accepting us, that's all. So this vibration is simply a cry for trusting the Supreme Lord, requesting him. Please accept me. Please accept me. Now Krishna wants to accept us. We're the problem, not him. We're too busy in the temporary, trying to be enjoyers of the temporary. We stray. We misused our free will, and we're in ignorance land. We can try to be attentive, and we need a lot of mercy. So this is a call for mercy. It's a prayer for mercy to become the humble servant of Nama Prabhu. Somebody that attended this presentation in July, when I first spoke it, this is somebody that's a visual person. So they sent this slide back. This is how it impacted them. Over on the top, that's them to Krishna. I'm sorry, I'm out of service, I'm broken, I don't work. Krishna, that's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm here for you. Just hear me. Very simple. One is understood to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who considers himself an eternal servant of the Holy Name. And in this spirit, distribute the Holy Name to the world. So in order to distribute the Holy Name to even one other person, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, it requires Krishna Shakti. We can't induce someone to chant, or say possibly, to induce someone to chant requires spiritual potency. And that spiritual potency is invested in someone who's in the mood of the service of the name. Recognize Mother Teresa over there. Don't think for love to be genuine, it has to be extraordinary. Do small things with great love. It is in the small things that our strength lies. I see. So how does this apply? Serve one name. One devotee shared that Prabhupada said, when you chant your 16 rounds every day, you have 25,000 opportunities for perfection. Names. So, in the small things, that's where our strength lies. If you want spiritual strength, be one name at a time, one mantra at a time. Be absorbed in that word of service. So sometimes I've heard people say, this is the conclusion. Oh, well, we have service to Krishna, service to Namaprabhu. Can we jump over the spiritual master and do that? That's it. No, because it's the instruction of the spiritual master to do so. And when we do so, there's some endeavor, but along with that endeavor, under the instruction of the spiritual master, we need mercy. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. Again, Rupa Goswami's nectar of instruction. Two more slides, we're done. This is something meaningful to me. I'm sharing it with you. On several occasions, not enormous number, I heard Prabhupada say, the living entity is both conscious and consciousness. And I thought, that sounds cool. What do you mean? What's he intending to say when he says it? What is it we're supposed to be receiving? And I never got an answer until I read Tattva Sandarbha, where Jiva Goswami answered the question. And it's specifically in relation to defeating Buddhism, particular brand of Buddhism, was even still present after Shankara drove Buddhism out of India. There was still some vestiges. So they say, this group of Buddhists, they're explicit, there's no soul. Buddha didn't say that, but they did. So he refutes it this way, by reference to a verse from the Vedas. Just as a flame is both luminous and it lights up objects in the room like pots and plates, traditional message from the Vedas. So similarly, the soul is both conscious, that's like luminous, and consciousness. And consciousness spreads from the soul, so consciousness pervades the body, and consciousness extends beyond the body through the senses. We certainly could hear that loud sound from the speaker system. And we can see light and smell, fragrances, and so forth. Our senses go out. Our consciousness goes out. So we're both conscious with consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is awakened by extending consciousness through the ear to the sound, in the mood of the service to the sound, the service to Krishna, the service to the name. And then this perfection comes, awakening of Namarasa. And let us conclude. Well, all of this is a gift of our disciplic succession, starting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our current Iskcon founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Such a gift Mahaprabhu was given, and the disciplic succession was given, traveling all over the world at great risk of his health and so forth, just to give this gift. And we heard Gopal Kumar was concerned when he received the name and his mantra. Although he had much less instruction than we had, he didn't want to stop until he had achieved the fullness of what his spiritual master wanted for him. that is experiencing the form and his relationship with Mother Gopal. So he achieved it because he didn't want to he didn't want to be ungrateful, like just get free from difficulty. He wanted the fullness of that gift from the spiritual master. Same for us. Service to the name, not distinct from service to our founder Acharya, the reason we're here. And it is, it's 9 o'clock. Questions or comments? Yes.
Suppose someone looks in their heart, it's what is my intention? I really appreciate that point. But to examine our intention, then you, I guess you're bringing up the point that our intention should be service. But if you examine the heart and you don't find that that's actually there, then what do you do?
Did you hear the question? Could you hear his question back there?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, I would say certainly there's a mix. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Now, we may not be taking service to the name, but constitutionally we're servants, and we're here because there's something in there that does service to the ultimate reality, or the source of all existence, or what's it all about, or some inquisitiveness. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. That's the something that's inside. That we're not at this, in different degrees, it can be more focused, less focused, but it's there. And so what to do is, with whatever it is that is your intention, supposing it's the 4 kinds of pious people that render service to Krishna, and mine is this one or those 3, whatever it is, then do that. Like Dhruva, I want a kingdom. Do that. Approach Vishnu to get your kingdom. And because he received Narada's mercy, and he was very grateful to Narada for giving his mercy, he went beyond, I want a kingdom intention. So to whatever it is, so it's important to, this is my response. Even if we have mixed intentions, or maybe even predominantly, I want something of the temporary nature, and somewhere else in there is, I want Vishnu, I want Krishna, I want to connect with the source of everything because I want, that's where I'm going to get something. Pious people understand that. Our teachers give it. So the gratitude towards the person who's the giver of the means to fulfill that mixed intention. That's my recommendation. Be honest, for sure. Don't give a tongue-in-cheek answer because then you get an A in your Bhakti Shastra exam. But with that shelter of the temporary, our teaching, that we're hearing from our teacher, our founder Acharya, like the lady that the bundle of sticks fell off her head. That's what she wanted. And there was reciprocation for what she wanted. So we'll get reciprocation for what we want, and it may entangle us in the complexities of material existence further. That's in Krishna's teachings to Uddhava. Be honest with yourself. From hearing, you can know that's the goal. That's the goal, being in service to the name. Let me, while I'm honoring, acknowledging, and operating in honesty from my present position, let me cultivate this higher position, because it is there. It's the nature of the soul covered. I accept that truth, and I'm not there yet. So that's cultivation. Anupali Krishna Shiva message. Yes.
Maharaj, I kind of got a message.
You did. Okay.
And it really, really simplified his question for me. My message, I wrote it down, I waited to in a moment. And it brought in everything that you had spoken about this morning.
Okay.
And for the word intention, it said, know who you are, which Prabhupada has said is the simplest understanding of Krishna consciousness. Know who you are. And with that intention, you become clear. And when you become clear, you can get rid of all of your stuff. And it's not until you can get rid of all of your stuff that you're no longer stuck.
Yeah.
You become unstuck, which you mentioned this morning. And then once you're unstuck is when you can see Krishna.
Yes. Now his question was, supposing you're stuck, and the honest response to the question, what's really important to me, what's my intention? It's not, it's I want stuff. And I'm stuck there. That's honest. I mean, so what do you do? That was his question. So knowing yourself is incomplete without knowing Krishna. And you hear from our acharyas, particularly our founder Acharya, and the texts that he's commenting on. It's incomplete. Self-realization is incomplete without God realization. And God realization. So, I'm not there yet. I'm still attached to stuff. But I want to know. I want to know who I really am. And it's important. Because a fundamental, if it's there, it's in a fundamental, that's what's really important to me. If I want to get rid of my suffering, that's what's important to me. That's incomplete. But start there. Thank you for your sharing. I think we're going to end and take breakfast. Thank you very much. Shiva Prabhupada ki jai.
So we'll be waiting for breakfast now. We'll take a break for breakfast now. And then we'll be back in the temple room at 9:45 for Kirtan. And that's